Hello again, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. For those who are new to this, in 2021, OVHcloud Startup Program Asia Pacific is running a series of webinars to share tips, ideas, best practices, guides from our subject matter experts to support the startups in the ecosystem and the community. In this particular edition, we will focus on the best way to build your cloud strategy for your startups. My guest speaker today is Shashank Dizit. Welcome, Shashank, to join us. Please say hello to our audience and tell our audience about yourself.
Thanks, Ian. Happy to be here. Hi, everyone. My name is Shashank, and I am the product marketing manager at OVHcloud APAC, where I'm leading the product excellence and the go-to-market strategy to develop and grow the Asia Pacific region. I'm based out of Singapore, and I've always been passionate about technology, marketing, and anything to do with both of them is a cherry on the cake. So yeah, glad to be here, Jan.
Great, that's great. Thank you, Shashank, for the introduction. And myself, Yan Ling Tan, I'm leading the startup program team in the Asia Pacific region for OVHcloud. So my role is to actually supporting the startup in the community and in the ecosystem with the program to help you start and grow your business. All right, let's get started. Shashank, cloud computing is no longer a buzzword, but it's in our everyday life, actually. Many businesses already adopted the cloud computing, but many still not. So why startups should go to cloud computing?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, and every session I've been to with startups, that's one of the key things which we've been talking about. And during COVID times, this has been at the forefront as well. But if you look at it, these days we revel in the fact that we can push a button and stuff comes to us, right? So, for example, we have Uber for cars, we have for meals, we have Grab in Singapore. For groceries, again, I'll just take an example of Singapore. We have Red Mart. So we have so many, as in institutes come up where we get X and the company Y does everything for us. It does the heavy lifting for us, right? So of course we pay a premium for this, but the saved cost in time or the stress of managing and maintaining the process ourselves make it worth. So this full stack of everything as a service or X as a service idea is nothing new, right? And when a firm is able to specialize in delivering a very specific service and grow to a certain size, I think it can achieve economies of scale and then pass on these efficiencies in the form of lower cost, better performance, and a higher reliability to the customers. And so the most game-changing companies, if you look at, can provide, as in this vein, can provide all your infrastructure needs. So to help these companies, there are cloud providers who can help you get all the IT infrastructure with the push of a button, right? So these companies are helping companies get to a service, whereas cloud service providers are helping them achieve something for the customers, right? And so running on a cloud provider should be every entrepreneur's go-to choice when starting an online business. And what I wanted to show was I wanted to align this with four basic rules of just one sec, four basic rules of running a startup, right? And what I feel is that you should always put a product in your user's hand as quickly as possible. This seems obvious, and that's why it's the basic. These are the basic rules of startups. But many companies fail to do this. Instead of launching, they spend months and sometimes years trying to perfect the first version. In most cases, they overbuild an incorrect direction, and by launch, run out of money or time to fix it. This can be avoided by getting feedback from real users. And this doesn't mean that you should rush the initial build or that you don't have to be thoughtful. Instead, separate your initial product requirements into two buckets, right? You should have must-haves and nice-to-haves. Everything in the must-have, I think is necessary because it solves the problem. If you don't build it, the product is useless. Throw out the second bucket. Real user feedback will guide you with your roadmap for next ones. And once you build your first version, launch. And cloud providers are the mechanism to swiftly get you to market. Just put in your credit card, spin up a machine, as in if you have free credits, push a code, and your application is up and running. Why do you want to spend days messing around with your own infra when you can get what you need out, which is right there as soon as possible, right? Don't unnecessarily waste time standing between you and your users. uh, if you look at the second block which I'm talking about, is try to is when companies are trying to build their own infrastructure, which may highlight the technical know-how about as in your product, but it also highlights your lack of focus, because that's not the perfect combo. What is your go-to-market strategy? You need to define that. What do you need to launch, and how you will get to users is what you need to answer. Building everything is a strategy. Yeah, building everything is actually not a strategy. It shows a lack of strategy, right? And at the end of the day, it's about making something that people really want. What is that
Mhm.
customers are paying for, right? And focus on adding that differentiated value and getting really good at what you should be providing them, rather than spending time doing all the heavy lifting on racks and servers. As in early days of startups, you have limited time, you have limited resources, you have limited money, so you're fighting to stay alive, and time
Yeah.
spent away from the actual yeah. Were you saying something here?
No, no, I was just trying to agree, echo you. This is key, that time is the key for startups that go to market. And all I saw startups that they're spending a lot of time just to perfect the solution. By the time they're ready to go to market, the
Yeah,
market probably don't need the solution anymore. It have evolved and changed so quickly, so they have to grab the right opportunity, the right time to go to market. So just do a
agreed.
minimum viable product to test the market and revise from there. Yeah, that's the best strategy that we see. Yeah.
Agreed. And if you look at the third block, right, what I'm trying to explain over here, that startups are volatile. Good and
Mm,
bad things happen every day, right? The volatility is just something you should expect as a startup. As in, one day a publication randomly writes about you, and suddenly you would have more users that you can ever imagine. And then the next day you cross land in the trough of as in where you don't find any users and traffic is minimal. And then maybe n weeks later you pump out of all the viral feature and stuff suddenly grows endlessly. So you have these ups and downs within your, right? The key to getting through all this is iterating quickly. Cloud providers, again, allow you to do that seamlessly. And due to their elasticity, they give you the ability to scale up and down as needed. Personally, I think this is what makes cloud computing so beautiful. Before cloud providers, you would have fixed capacity on your own, and as in there was a set time and a period, and only a limited amount of resources you could get, right? But now with cloud providers, you can automatically add capacity into your infrastructure as needed. The cloud allows you to iterate quickly and grow rapidly. And just like you may need to add capacity, right? You might also want to deprovision servers as well. Before cloud, you were stuck paying for the servers you bought or rented. But with the cloud providers, your idea can fail and you won't be stuck with expensive infra. In effect, if you look at it, cloud providers allow you to fail fast. If your idea doesn't work, you can move on to the next idea without having to deal with underutilized expensive resources. And being able to do that very quickly and in a fluid manner makes experimentation and as in the experimentation for you fast and at low risk. And finally, wanted to talk about that many startups fail because they run out of money. And when you start off, it's important to keep your burn low, because I think you want to extend your runway and give you more time. You want to give yourself more time to figure things out, right? And the advantage of using cloud providers in that sense is obvious, right? There is no capital cost for you. So to launch, you don't need to pay the initial fixed fees for a fleet of machines. And also, you don't need to pay for ongoing, as in power or resources which are happening. You just need to, as in a cloud provider is maintaining those machines for you. And best of all, you just pay for what you use. If there's no traffic, you don't pay for idleness, and that's amazing, right? I must admit that despite all the benefits of cloud providers, there's something special about everything from scratch. You are in control of your own destiny, but while the extras you get out of it over a cloud provider may earn you some extra karma points, right? It's never worth the time you will lose by not remaining focused on your startup. So remember, your goal is to build a successful company. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. And that's where I want to move on to my next slide, where I want to talk about that how most organizations are expanding their use of cloud at an accelerated pace, right? And to maintain their competitive advantage, they need to accelerate and innovate, and they need to transform with from as in from the feedback or the interactions which they have from their customers, from their employees and their partners. The COVID-19 pandemic has actually further increased the speed of scale and cloud adoption. But while the cloud is on everybody's top of mind, there is still work to be done, and to manage those complexities. So I would just say that cloud adoption is happening now, and we'll talk about later on how it's helping organizations as well.
Okay, that's so true. Yeah. So what are the key areas? Now we see the importance of it for startup to adopt cloud computing. Then to move into that steps, what are the key considerations that we need to take care of?
Okay. So the as I keep mentioning the coronavirus or COVID situation there, but the disruption of coronavirus have actually underscored the crucial role of technology, right? From supporting remote working to scaling digital channels for surging customers, because everybody's moved online. So CIOs must pay attention to certain aspects of cloud computing that will
Mm,
affect their adoption of services. And with that, I firstly want to talk about that while building your digital transformation strategy or the digital strategy or the cloud computing strategy, the words are interchanged, right? You need to see where do your apps fall on the spectrum between traditional and cloud native. So applications that fall predominantly on the traditional side of the range will work best with systems like OVH dedicated servers that resemble the traditional virtual machines infra, right? And those shifted to cloud native are better suited on the IaaS or the PaaS combination, such as OVHcloud, public cloud, or the hosted private cloud, which we offer. So that's the key points which you need to look for when you're planning your architectures, right? But apart from that, we've also seen that how conventional wisdom holds that private clouds are better for workloads that have high compliance or security needs, whereas public cloud meanwhile is said to be idle for almost anything else. So that logic, if you look at it, no longer applies quite so neatly. Both public and private cloud have expanded in recent years, and the use cases for each model are not clearly delineated from each other as they were once, I would say. So public cloud generally offers greater control. It lowers the ongoing cost, although they come with higher capital expenses and may not offer as many cloud services as you get from public cloud. So that's the thing an organization should be figuring out, right? And thirdly, I want to talk about that how most organizations operate de facto multi clouds, but
mm,
few tie all those efforts together into a coherent strategy, which is driven as an enterprise multi cloud strategy. And while in a hybrid environment, you manage your, as in your portfolio of multiple clouds, you try to integrate through management tools, processes, standards, and all these automations happen as an its own. And finally, if we look at the fourth point, where digitization is actually undergoing a sudden and massive acceleration, right? And I've been mentioning this point again and again, but this makes it even more essential uh, for your hybrid cloud environment, and the services provided by the provider are open, they are interoperable, and they have as in you don't have any vendor lock in there, that. And finally, I at the bottom, as in you see some other key areas which are very necessary as a consideration when you're looking for a cloud provider to achieve scalability, agility, or flexibility, right? And this helps you be efficient and save cost. So how does confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data maintained? So OVHcloud realizes the value of choice. So the ability of business to choose their provider, platform, and solutions is paramount for us. We are committed to enabling customers to be free and choose their cloud providers, free to change them, free to divide up their applications, be it with different service providers, free to choose where their data is stored, and also free to work with applications they are currently familiar with on their on-premise environment, right? And that's why we have OpenStack and VMware in our systems. And lastly, is the data subject to regulations? If the data is stored offshore, are there any additional legal implications and risk assessed and understood? So I think if you look at the overall, as in the slide, I've tried to explain around what areas you need to think of from the technical point of view, from the availability of different cloud providers and what solutions they have. And in the end, it all ties back to, do you have any vendor lock-in, or what are the implications you might have of having your cloud service provider from a certain country? So yeah.
Okay. That's well articulate the considerations. I hope that audience can learn from this with your explanation and all. Yeah. So how does OVH Cloud helps their customers in their cloud journey? Yeah. How we can how the OVH Cloud can support them in this,
Eh,
taking into the
correct.
considerations of all this. Yeah.
Correct. So that's a very difficult question to answer in such a short time, and OVH Cloud does a lot many things. But what I've done is I've tried to represent everything in sort of one slide of what we do. Because as an OVH Cloud's customer-centric approach and extensive cloud product offerings reflects our mission of servicing all types of business needs. If you look at the product lines which are there, they are interconnected and are highly complementary. Notably, if you look at bare metal, hosted private cloud, and public cloud, they talk to each other on regular basis. If you look at it, if you have applications and which cater to a variety of use cases, and the provision of storage, security, and web hosting, which is there, are naturally included in everything. And before I move forward, actually, I just wanted to let everybody know of a few numbers which we have, right? Key numbers for us, that in across the globe, we've hosted around 255K bare metal servers. We have around 3,500 managed vCenters, and we have more than 320K public cloud instances across the globe. And with that, I want to move to each of these different universes which we have. And I want to start with the first one, which is we provide accessible web cloud services, which helps you start and empower the digital journey for your customers or for yourself. And within web cloud, we have web hosting, we have domain names, we have voice over IP, we have EPS, and we have other collaboration tools like emails, SMS. And these address to, so all these services address to different resellers and web agencies. And uh, as we move forward, we are also looking for new PaaS and SaaS services, where we are trying to create a marketplace which in the end will actually help you, right? And uh, From there, I want to move to bare metal cloud, because whether you want to adopt the cloud, support the growth of your business, or meet your critical business requirements, I think our bare metal product ranges offer a wide spectrum of configurations, and they take advantage of the latest technological innovations. So customers therefore get optimized and customized solutions which are specific for their individual needs. So we are able to cater to most of the use cases which you have around virtualization, storage, database, big data, hyperconverged infrastructure, gaming, AI, you name it. We have a solution for that. And we offer, as I said, right, we offer a wide range of powerful bare metal servers, which also cater to all business needs with high performance CPU or GPU. We have high storage availability for your critical and mission critical business, as in applications. And we also offer automation in the configurations, right? So you can configure more than 100 plus profiles. You have customizable storages, you have customizable instances. So all these things are there. And we are listening to our customers, and we are constantly innovating and working on creating new use cases so that we can address to the high demand of customers. And in not just terms of performance, but even in terms of price range, we have a wide range of bare metal servers, from the economy all the way to mid range and high range as well. What is key to note is we have predictable pricing. We have large bandwidth which is included. We have anti-DDoS solutions. Fast provisioning is there, and everything is hosted on a web-based control panel, and is all driven by API automations. So you are able to talk to your servers directly from anywhere in the world, and they are all interconnected with something called VRAC, which is a secure private network which we offer free of cost to everyone. Moving on to private cloud, I just wanted to talk about that the OVH cloud hosted private clouds run on VMware. It supports VMware software-defined data centers, which makes it easy for you to port your on-premise virtual workloads to interact with our hosted private cloud. And you can do the business the way you were doing. It's the same tool, same technologies. And just on that point, I wanted to mention that OVHcloud was recently named one of the leaders in hosted private cloud services segment for the Forrester Wave in both EMEA and USA. So that's a very big achievement for us, because we launched in US a couple of I think less than 2 years back. And finally, moving on to our public cloud, it's built on open source standards. So example, we have OpenStack, we have Kubernetes K8s to ensure portability and hybridity with other cloud service providers. And it's basically aimed at customers who need to develop a scalable cloud-based application which is working on open standards. So on OpenStack front, OVHcloud has been involved in the open source community as a sponsor, so that it shows that how committed we are towards OpenStack. We are also an infrastructure provider for the CI/CD projects happening in open source world, and we do intervene on the code, and we do direct contributions, and we take which is directly by working on it or providing feedback to them. And on public cloud front, just wanted to let everybody know that all the resources, 100% of resources are available without any over allocation. Everything is inclusive of pricing with no extra fees, so the pricing is very transparent. You know in advance how much you're going to pay. We provide, as in there is no cost for traffic and bandwidth usages in other regions. In APAC, we do charge a certain while, but I think we are able to provide the right infra for your applications with all the latest technology which we have.
Okay, that's great. So the elements of transparency of pricing, and also the multi-local regions that the customer can choose from, and also the reversibility, and based on the OpenStack technology platform, allows the startups to build their solutions in a non-restricted in kind of environment. That's really cool and also important consideration when someone actually need to build their solutions on the cloud infrastructures. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's great. So
And
how,
yeah,
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, as an I was just waiting for you.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
How's the so if I'm a startup now in my startup journey, is that
yeah.
where should I start from?
Okay, so I have a very simple slide to represent that. And at OVHcloud, we are ready to partner with customers no matter where they are in the cloud journey. We have web cloud and bare metal solutions, as I have mentioned in the previous slide, which will help you kickstart your journey with us immediately. So you just need to go there, buy it online, and be digital as soon as possible. And you can scale and optimize with us, and you can, as in, automate your digital transformation strategy with our public cloud and hosted private cloud universe. So, what I wanted to talk about, that the key takeaway in all of this, which I've talked about, is focus, focus, and focus yourself specifically on the single thing you're going to do better than everybody else, right? And that is your competitive advantage. So, build a great product, listen to your users, and repeat. You just need to outsource everything else and specifically your infrastructure. So, with that, that's it from my side. Thank you so much. And I would like to shift gears now, and probably I'll ask Ian a couple of questions. How about that?
Okay. All right, sure, no problem. Yeah, thanks for sharing the tips on building the cloud strategy and also taking notes on all the key elements to actually start your cloud journeys. Yeah, thank you, Shashank.
Awesome. So probably Ian, I just wanted to know that you've been working with startups for so many years, right? And I just wanted to understand that what do you see as the most common use cases for cloud computing these days?
Mm, yeah, there's a lot of use cases in cloud computing, definitely. Of course, cloud computing may not be suitable for every business situations, but most of the situation when you need to go to internet, when you need to put yourself up to connecting to others via the network, then there's this where you come in and where you need to go to cloud computing. So I would like to take these opportunities to share some situations where cloud computing is being used to enhance the ability to achieve the business goal from an enterprise or startup perspective. Okay. So there are many. Let me. Am I? Okay. Let's see. Are you able to see the slides change? Session. Maybe I need to actually be granted the mouse. Okay. All right. Good. All right, there are many use cases that we see in cloud computing, whether from our customers, from our startup members of the in the program. So regardless the industry that you are in, whether you are in the fintech, govtech, education, or even the blockchain technology that you're trying to build, or in the logistic environment to enhance the efficiency of the transportation. So there are many of the use cases that we see in the market. So for instance, yeah, first of all, I probably would like to take the examples of a high performance AI and machine learning. All right, according to IDC, by 2025, at least 90% of the new enterprise applications will be embedded with artificial intelligence. So one of our startup members actually using the artificial intelligence machine learning algorithm to transform pictures of a garment into a model that wearing it. And this actually helps or increase the capabilities of online catalog that cut all the guesswork for online shopping as a consumer. So without actually spending too much on the production of the video or of the model wearing the garment, but then they managed to do it digitally using the artificial intelligence technology. So this is one of the great examples that we use in the use of cloud computing. Another example is we also see organization using AI and machine learning to build IoT and to enhance the productivity, the iron out the operational issues using the IoT technology to help increase the efficiency of the customers in whether in the hospital environment, whether in the manufacturing environment, and so forth. And also we see a lot of example using machine learning to actually enhance the productivity in the logistic and transportation, for instance, to increase the capacity for them to deliver their goods and all using the technology behind it. Of course, all this will be on top of cloud computing. Another examples that you will be able to see is SaaS model, SaaS developer, software as a service. Example, they use the cloud computing to help the customer to compress the images into a very quality images. This help, for instance, a website to be load faster and reduce the time to load the website, and also increase the SEO ranking in the web development as well. So without compromising the quality of the image that's to be put on the website. So this is one example we see as well that help the media, help the digital team actually to improve their searchable and also their visibilities as well. Okay, another great example that we see also in terms of using cloud computing and the SaaS model is online and web-based call center. So we have a startup member actually leveraging on this cloud computing technology to help their customers to set up their cloud call center just within 30 minutes without the comparison of physical devices setting up. And this actually helped the customers of this particular startups to actually go to market very easily and quickly to actually improve their management of the sales staff and also service staff, especially in managing their calls, whether it's receiving or making calls, so they'll be able to track this all online and through their web-based applications. So these are another great use cases that we see using the cloud computing. Another example I did mention about is the content sharing web marketing platform. They use cloud computing a lot to put all their content, their document, images, everything on the cloud very easily with a great capacity of data storage on the cloud without have to spend so much on the physical storage servers and so forth. So these are some example of use case that we see a lot in using the cloud computing. Okay, then of course, then I would like to also share one of the use cases in the e-commerce and retail. I mentioned before, right? By at this time, everything is go online. You do a lot of online shopping. You do a lot of applications online. So AI is always been embedded to this to improve the capacity, to improve the productivities, and also optimize the solutions very easily using the AI and machine learning. So one of the use case that we see that use a lot of this AI technology is in the e-commerce space to do predictive recommendations for the customer to increase user experience on the website, to recommend the right products at the right time with the seasonal, for instance, this seasonal offers that you have to the customer. And also you can use the AI to improve the supply chain optimization for better inventory management and also the demand forecasting as well. So these are one of the great examples that we see using the machine learning and artificial intelligence. Another great, then I would like to jump into, sorry, let me go back. One of the customer stories that using cloud computing, whether it's from the dedicated servers that Shashank mentioned, or also the public cloud instances. So this is the stories from our customers that based in UK, but they are expanding their business globally. They are not just cater the market in UK or North Europe, but they also cater the market worldwide. Okay, so this customers, Logic.io, they specialize in metrics and logging, helping their customer to analyze and manage the logs and metrics they have in through a very user-friendly and flexible online dashboard. So in order to stay competitive in the market, organization needs to analyze a lot of data to understand their customer behavior, to understand the needs of their demand and so forth. So that needs a lot of technology to do that. So that's where Logic come into play in helping their customers. So they are using the technology to help the customer doing the elastic search, manage the logs, and also make it very simple, clear, actionable insights through analytics to analyze the performance and so forth. So this is particularly the business they are using. So with this in mind and to go global, they require infrastructures that allow them to actually move very fast, allow them to have an infrastructure that very reliable and secure, as well as very cost effective to manage all this. So they are actually looking for something that allow them to scale automatically in a very secure manner in order to manage the high volume of data, and also the bandwidth they need to manage, the increasing bandwidth they need to manage for their customer, and also through the servers as well. So the in and out of all these transactions that needs to be managed very rapidly with the very scalable infrastructures. With that, they actually things that partner with a provider, especially a global provider, from data protection standpoints, it makes very much sense, and also allow them to geolocate into multiple regions. That's why they partner with OVHcloud in this, have this in mind since day one. Okay, so this is the story of Logic.io. So here I would like to share the high level architectures that Logic.io is having here is they actually manage a numbers of public cloud instances and also dedicated servers in managing the high volume of the data that they are, or logs and matrices that they are managing. So they are focused in allow them to focus into the unlimited bandwidth that they actually built into it, and also the scalable foundation for them to grow in the market in the long run. So this is the architecture they use to helping their customer in multi-location. With at this moment they have like more than 100 of active servers in place to build these infrastructures. All right, this is one of the great success stories that we see, and they actually are transforming themselves using this technology and this architecture into a full-blown multi-region company that offer the solutions to their customers. So other common use case that we see in cloud computing also cover web applications platform, which is very common in use public cloud instances. So a lot of startup actually building mobile applications, web app applications to build their content with in mind that public network is a key element in there, and also allow them to spin very quickly and very fast and flexible as well to increase their either their storage, either their compute power very easily. Another example we see is the large data stores in the analytics player, where they actually can leverage on the cloud storage to store and manage the data easily with the OpenStack Shift API and also the standard, for instance, S3 API to actually replicate the data into their storage. So this is another common use cases we can see a lot of customers you go into cloud as well. Another flexibility in the cloud computing we can see is it allows seasonal connections where, for instance, here we have an e-learning platform from our customer that offers connection offer the e-learning services for 1.5 million of students. So during the pandemic, during the lockdown, from normal 1 million of connections, they need to increase to a 5 million day-long connections because of this periodic seasonal occasions that they need to increase their bandwidth. So with the flexibility of the cloud computing, they managed to spin the instances very quickly across their architecture and allow them to connect to the external traffic easily without worry about the cost of the bandwidth that much. That what Sashang is shared with us earlier, that the cost performance ratio and the bandwidth considerations that you need to take into consideration if you are in the regions other than APAC, the traffic is actually unmetered. So that's is one of the key considerations you have to look into in the use case that you are in. So different businesses have different use case for sure. So depends on where you are at and what kind of needs that you are building for your customer and what other problem you are solving for your customer, whether from the mobile web application, for the storage, or for just seasonal connections, or for retail, for instance, for sales and for the peak hour, then you can actually spin the instances in a very quick manner. So this is the common use case that we see.
Great, great. Thanks, Jan. And it's great to actually see that how they all talk to us as in terms of how our global presence helps them
Yeah.
expand globally as well, utilizing all our universes. Just quickly want to finish it off, but I just had one more thing for you to talk about. Can you just talk about the program as such and what and how can startups benefit from it and how they can move forward on the cloud front there?
Okay, sure. Yeah, in OVH Cloud, we do have a startup program to support our startup. So we have been launched this program for a few years. Since 2015, we have managed to actually support close to 2,000 innovative businesses worldwide. So last year itself, we rebranded this program, not just for startup, but we expand our offer to scale up as well. So we provide our startup and scale up members with reliable, affordable infrastructures using the credit. So startup members in our program and also scale up members in our program will actually have chance to access to resources such as co-marketing opportunities, solution architect support, and also cloud credit for up to $100,000 depending the maturity of your startups. So you can use this voucher to actually kickstart your projects without worry about the cost of the infrastructures. So before OVH Cloud become a global company, we ourselves also start up. So we understand the difficulty to get to the market with a very limited resources. That's why we want to actually give back to the community. So with the credit, we hope that the startup and scale up will be able to kickstart and launch and scale their projects without worrying the rest of it. Yeah, especially the infrastructure bits. So by joining the OVH Cloud program, once you've been accepted to the program, you're not just entering to the program, but you are actually entering to a ecosystem itself. Sorry, my mouse is just too sensitive. Can I go back? I'm so sorry. Okay, so by entering to the startup program, you're actually entering to our wide ecosystems. So we actually work with ecosystem partners like enablers, incubator, VC, investor, accelerator to help support the startup in the community. So you actually get access or is the door opening for you to get access to all these parties to help you grow your business, not just from the technical perspective, but from the business perspective as well, to bring you to our wider audience as well. And also with our strong ecosystem within OVHcloud itself, you get the chance to access to our other program, various programs such as partner program, open trusted cloud program, and marketplace as well. So that will be the capabilities you have in joining the program itself. I hope that's clear for our audience that by what are the benefit of it. But you can always reach out to us to get more information about the program. So do stay connected with us. These are all our social media channels that you can get connected with us. So that's end our presentation, but I'd like to take some questions from the audience. I do have some questions here from the audience. There is a question is about if I'm a startup, I don't have the resources to manage the IT bits. So where should I go from here? Shashank, will you be able to take this up? If a
So,
startup, they don't have the technical background or they don't have much resources in this sense.
yeah, definitely. And see, as in you spoke about it in the partner, what is inside the partner, the startup program as well, right? We do provide technical assistance to startups which enroll to our startup program. But having said that, we also have the ecosystem again, which Jan you talked about. We have a huge ecosystem of partners which can help us, who are managed service providers, system integrators, which can help startups to handhold them into their cloud journey, right? So we have that ecosystem is always there, and definitely we have our own team of solution architects as well, which can help startups achieve the heights of digital transformation.
That's so true. Yeah, the program, like I say, the program itself, not just about the credits. In
Yeah.
fact, the program itself, we have the support from our solution architect, whether from our competency center or from our pre-sales team. And actually, lately, we just launched a mentoring project or mentoring program for our startup members to help startups from our subject matters expert, whether internally or externally, to guide them through to resolve the business or technical challenge that the startup having. So yeah, that's also one of the key advantage to be in the ecosystem itself. Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm. Let me see. Another questions that we have is how to mitigate the risk of using the cloud computing. There's a risk. Yeah.
So,
So
as in,
Shashank?
if you remember, I mentioned briefly about it, and I'll talk about it as well. That, see, for a startup, it's very important for them to have transparent and predictable pricing. They need to know how much they need to, as in, have in terms of what's gonna cost them in their IT infrastructure. So all these things they need to find in advance, so that will help them go on a longer run, right? And not just this, they also need to see that they are not getting into a vendor lock-in. They need to see that the technology the cloud service provider is providing them has interoperability and is working on open standards. Because although many cloud providers can provide you free credits, but if you're not able to leave on your own at the time you want, then you are stuck with that vendor. So that's very important as a consideration which you have to look into and to avoid any kind of risk. And lastly, I would definitely mention the data security and sovereignty, where it's important for you to know that where your data is stored, and what are the legal implications in different regions, and how does and what kind of as in privacy laws is being followed by their startup. And that's all, analyzing all these things is really important to avoid any kind of risk.
Thank you, Shashank, for answering the question. Yeah, I do not have any questions from the audience. Yeah. So if you have any other questions, audience on the floor, do not hesitate to send those questions to us at event@ovhcloud.com, or you can actually connect us through our channels as well. We will get back to you or get in touch with you whenever we can. Yeah. and to help you and support you to start and grow your business. Thank you, Sashang, for joining us today. I think this is the time for us to wrap up for due to the time that we have. Yeah, this webinar will be actually it's been recorded, so if you needed it, we will actually send it to you. Thank you so
Great.
much,
Thanks, Yan.
everyone, for joining us.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you, Yan.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.